here we are, the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. This is the last section in chapter 5. And before we get into this, I just want to say that volumes have been written about the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. It is a complex topic. It is an exciting topic of study, but for our purposes, I want to try and keep it simple and just focus on a couple of the main factors that led to the decline of the Roman Empire. How does this fit in with our pirates? The decline and fall of the Roman Empire would cover every single aspect of our pirates, but it's not the highlight of the civilization. It's not the peak of the culture. So I don't think that it's necessary for you to include anything from this section in your pirates or in the website. Okay, it is an important topic of study because people we like to understand why civilizations rise to power, how they stay in power, and then ultimately what leads to their decline. And as I'll point out at the very end of this lesson, and as we find out later on when we talk about China, the fall of the Roman Empire and the fall of Han China share many similarities. And so it's important for us to understand and identify what those similarities are, and then we can use that understanding to inform our current civilization today. And people have studied what is happening with the U.S. government, the U.S. economy, and tried to identify similarities between the fall of the Roman Empire and, say, a decline in power or status or what have you of the U.S. government. So in that sense, our study of Section 5 can better inform our understanding of our civilization today, and then we can also compare it to other civilizations. So although you're not going to be using this for pirates, understand that it is significant in our study of world history. So let's begin. Warning you guys, we got a big idea. And this big idea is different than what's in your textbook, so listen up. The Roman Empire was besieged by external invasions, weak emperors, and economic troubles that led to its gradual decline and collapse between 180 and 476 AD. 3 important points. Number 1, external invasions. Number 2, weak emperors. Number 3, economic troubles. Those are 3 major factors that led to the collapse. Also keep in mind it took place over the course of 300 years. It didn't happen overnight. People didn't wake up one day and say, oh, we have political instability. We have weak emperors. Oh, we're being invaded. Okay, it took a long time. It took hundreds of years to take down this empire. Let's review a couple of major dates in Roman history. We have the Republic, 509 BC, all the way up until about 27 BC. In your mind, think to yourself what happened at the end of the Republic. Review some of those events, some of those dates that led to the collapse of the triumvirates, Julius Caesar's assassination, and the rise of Octavian, who later becomes Augustus and the first emperor of Rome. And that would last up until 476 CE. Also, think to yourself what happened during this time, 27 to 180. If you're thinking about the Pax Romana, you're exactly right. And that's where we left off before, and that's where we're going to pick up today. And that is the period of decline and fall of the Roman Empire from 180 to 476. And if you want a trivia question, 476 is the traditional date for the fall of the Roman Empire. Causes for decline. Let's look at external and internal factors. External factors, things happening outside of the empire. Internal factors, things happening inside the empire. Externally, invasions from outsiders, Persians and Germans in particular. Internal factors, political instability. We've got weak leadership, and we have military generals who are fighting with each other for power. Economic troubles. There's going to be a plague. There's going to be a decline in population. There's going to be a whole domino effect of things that are going to lead to further instability within the Roman Empire. Let's take a look at the external factors. We're going to have invasions from the Germans and the Persians. Now first keep in mind the pink area here shows the Roman Empire. Actually it would include this area as well. Okay, these red lines just differentiate between the provinces. Up here you've got the Franks, the German tribes, right? The Goths you may have heard of, and so they would be attacking the Roman Empire on the northern border. You've also got the Persians over here attacking the eastern border. Okay? Now, why wouldn't there be anybody attacking Rome from Africa? Well, guys, there's a desert down here. Okay? Nobody's going to take their army across the Sahara Desert in order to attack the Roman Empire up here. Okay? It's not practical. Okay? There's a lot of people over here wanting power, wanting control. They can easily attack Rome as well as over here. And why don't people attack Rome from the west? Well, guys, that's an ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, so it doesn't make sense to attack from the west or from the south. Okay, the northern border and the eastern border. Another way of looking at this is the Mediterranean during the 3rd century, around 271 in particular. I want you to focus on these red triangles. They are legions. How many people in one legion, and how many legions were there? About 5,000 people in a legion, I believe, and 20, 30-ish legions in general. A lot of people, very organized. Well, where do the Romans put their legions? Look familiar? The northern border and the eastern border. Okay? I also want to point out that we have a river here. Can you name this river? I asked you to identify it on the geography map. That's the Danube River, forms the northern border. It's going to be the frontier between the Roman Empire and the Germans. And over here you have the Rhine River, okay, forming another frontier between the Roman Empire and the Germans. Okay, so those are the external invasions. Internal factors: weak leaders and generals, military generals that are fighting with each other. Between 235 and 284, you're going to have all of these people leading the Roman Empire. They're fighting with each other, they're killing each other, they're plotting against each other. Everybody wants power. We have military generals. Ideally, they would fight for the protection of Rome, but they fight for their own glory, their own power. And so what happens to the glory of the Roman Empire while these people are fighting against each other? Of course, the empire is only going to become weakened. Another way of looking at this would be to examine the turnover of the Roman empires during the 3rd century crisis. You've got this graph showing the number of emperors over here and the year. During the Pax Romana, you only had a handful of emperors. But after the Pax Romana, during this period of decline, we're going to have a lot of emperors. Okay, that owes to show how there was political instability. Nobody could maintain power for very long. Okay? Now, although those numbers did go down towards the end of the Roman Empire, they still were significantly higher than what we had early on. Okay? And I also want to point out that in the 1st century here, there were Augustus's family members who succeeded him have been rated as some of the worst emperors ever. 4 of them: Nero, Claudius, Domitian, some just pretty bad guys. But Rome was able to withstand that. And look how many that we had during this 50-year period. You just had a couple. Okay, so something was seriously going on here, and much of it had to do with weak leadership. Other internal factors: you had a plague. Bubonic plague, probably came from trade routes from the Middle East and Asia, probably something like smallpox. Very, very deadly. It's going to kill people. When who dies, you're going to lose soldiers. You're going to lose people that are trying to protect the empire. So you have fewer people protecting the empire. That's going to make the empire more vulnerable to invasions. Farmers are going to be killed. Craftsmen are going to be killed. People that are the backbone of the economy. You're going to have less food to feed people. You're going to have a decline in trade as manufacturing suffers. You're going to have less revenue coming in. There's less money. The money that is available is going to be used to pay soldiers. We call those mercenary soldiers. The sad fact is that many of them became German barbarians, became mercenary soldiers. Rome paid them to fight for the Roman military, and that has to bring up a question of loyalty. Are the mercenary soldiers going to be loyal to Rome, or are they going to be loyal to whoever pays them the most? And they will ultimately revolt against Roman authority. Okay, so again, see how all of these factors are intertwined. It's not just one thing, it's a combination of many of things. There were a couple of attempts to revive the Roman Empire that occurred first with Diocletian around 284, and he tried to split the empire up into 4 different sections and place one person in charge of each section. Okay, the empire was so big he thought, hey, maybe if we spread the power among 4 people, it'll be easier. Ultimately, it didn't work, and Constantine, he builds a new capital in Constantinople, the former Byzantium, city of Greek colony of Byzantium. Go to YouTube, type in "They Might Be Giants, Istanbul, Constantinople," enjoy the video, music video. Constantine also made Christianity the state religion. Okay, here's a map showing the tetrarchy. We've got 4 divisions here based on these 4 different colors, so you'd have one ruler for each of those sections, but Diocletian, he would have been the supreme ruler of over all of them. But this division is significant. The Roman Empire from now on is divided. It will never ever be united again. And Constantine shifts the capital to Constantinople. Okay, over here we've talked about the significance of this city as a crossroads between Europe and Asia. Okay, Christianity became the official Roman Empire. The official religion of the Roman Empire, and we're going to have the creation of many different dioceses for the church. Okay, and this also shows the division between the East and the West. Western Empire, it's going to collapse and crumble completely. Eastern Roman Empire is going to continue for another 1,000 years as the Byzantine Empire. So in summary, this is the final straw that led to the ultimate end of the Roman Empire. You had these nomadic Huns. These would be people in Central Asia. They put pressure on these German tribes. Remember those German tribes just sitting north of the Danube? You have Huns that kind of trap those Visigoths between the Romans and themselves. And so those Visigoths, they move along the Danube and they eventually settle in Roman territory. The Romans say, okay, you know what? You settle in our territory, we'll have you protect us. Okay? And so they become mercenary soldiers. But those guys revolt. Okay? They eventually cross back and forth across the Roman border freely as much as they want. Some of these groups attack Rome not just once, but twice, and why not a 3rd time? And the last time is in 476, and the last Roman ruler is Romulus Augustulus. That's another quiz question for you. Who is the first Roman ruler? It would be Romulus in 753 BC. Who is the last? Romulus Augustulus. And so we have the collapse, the end of the Roman Empire. This map shows what it looked like after the collapse. Notice that all of these areas are now controlled by Germanic peoples. Okay, and then over here you have the Eastern Roman Empire, Byzantine Empire as it is known. In summary, there are many different theories, factors, reasons, but there's not one single cause. There are similarities to other civilizations. Most notably, it was too big to defend. They ran out of resources. It's difficult to unify this diverse group of people. Never since in the history of the world has an empire controlled all of the Mediterranean world, all of those people. Okay? Syrians and Britons have nothing in common. Belgians and Egyptians have nothing in common. But they did during this time, in that they were controlled by the Roman Empire. And that's one of the things that makes the Roman Empire amazing. We'll see similar things with Han China. Okay, the fall of Rome really refers to the Western Empire because the Eastern Empire continues for another 1,000 years. It doesn't fall until 1453. This is actually the YouTube video for They Might Be Giants. And test yourself, see how well you know the material with these questions. Email me with any questions, write some comments below this video, and I'll get back to you as soon as we can, and I'll see you in class.